got normal types of nice Word documents that you need to annotate. Here's magazine covers, and then photography shoots as well. And then, of course, going up to engineering drawings. So annotations are used a lot in mechanical engineering, chemical engineering. These people have got their CAD systems, giant CAD systems, and they need to actually comment on things, have team collaboration. Same with lawyers. You know, lawyers, many of you that have done non-disclosure agreements or contracts, lawyers love to come back and say, these are the comments that we don't like about your document. Doctors as well. They've got a medical scan and they want to do something on the medical scan. Here's where the knee has got some water on it. Students, you know, they've all got these diagrams and they're having to visualize what the markings are on the diagrams, what the comments are, but they need to know where those comments need to go. And of course, marketing teams. So part of the problem with annotation, if you don't have it, you're trying to convey what the problem is when you're reviewing a document, but you're trying to convey also where that problem is. Where physically is it? So if I said there was a magazine cover, an A4, and it's got several pictures, how would I describe what was the picture that had to be on there? Usually we're doing the same thing of going into an email and trying to describe what it is that we're seeing that we want the person to change, instead of directly having it as an annotation. So it's just like a map, really. Here's a direction. I want you to go there. It's immediate. You can see exactly where you need to go. So how do people do reviews at the moment? Well, if you're the big boss, you may just shout at people, and they'll say, OK, I'll take those verbal instructions, I'll go away, and I'll do what you said. Maybe 50% of them they get right, maybe 50% of them they don't, and there could be some interaction as well if they disagree. There's also Adobe Acrobat, Microsoft PowerPoint, and of course Word. Now we've all done comments in Word, I grant you. We must have all done them. But how many of you have also done review comments in PowerPoint? One. How about Excel? Ooh, it's not bad. I've been using it for ages, but I didn't actually know Excel had the ability to do comments in. You just don't see it, you don't use it. But it's great if you want snail mail. One person reviews at a time, because you give it to one person, they review it, give you back the document, then it goes to another person, then another, then another. Then you don't know if they're on holiday, you don't know where the document is, and it's a nightmare. And of course, there's nothing you can do for images, nothing you can do for videos, and it's all outside of Alfresco. So when we talk about document management and collaboration and compliance, this is all happening outside, in chaos, in email land. So you could do it on Alfresco, but sometimes people are doing it not the right way. So they're taking a document and then emailing it. So they're very nice. We've got all our versions of the document in Alfresco, and I'm just going to download it, send it on an email to a few people. And of course, if it's an image or some type of material that people need to annotate, they'll print it, which the IT department love. Then you get quite a little paper. So imagine if you're on an engineering project, or if you work on a big Prince 2 project where everything's got to be kept. This all has to be stored somewhere, all has to be archived. And then the final product, when you amend it, you put it back into Alfresco, version 2, very nice. But what do you do with all the paper copies? We've all done it, and we've all had the annotations, and you either keep them in a big pile on your desk, or else you just throw them away. But then who knows who said what? Another issue when you're reviewing, has anyone done this? Blindfolded driving on a team building exercise. Brilliant fun. Effectively, you're trying to drive the car, but obviously with a blindfold. And the guy is saying, turn left, turn right. No, don't do that, do it this way. Because they're trying to visualize what they can see. That's exactly what happens in some places when you're doing this for a telephone conference. So if you're different parts of the world, You're trying to convey what you've got on your desk without that other person seeing. So yes, you can probably do things on WebEx, but you have to book a WebEx session and so on and share that. And of course, we can't always interpret what that person's trying to say. We don't have an iMind reader, you know. And a lot of this is, what I mean is, this is what I'm trying to convey in my review comments of this document. And also, when we're handwriting, it's illegible. I know some people that actually do review comments. Look at that. It's like you're then going through and thinking, what was this? Was this an I or an R? What did they mean by this? And I heard of one, actually they're not here so I can say it, that they've taken their marketing department and outsourced it to India. So when they're producing things, they're seeing the images, the collateral they need, writing the comments they want, and they're faxing it to them, because that's the technology that those guys have got. I mean, who lost sent a fax? Who lost received a fax? That's just disappeared. So now we're going into scanning, which is nice, but you're still scanning things that are probably illegible. And also, if you go and send out a review comment, so say you've got a document or a proposal that you're sending to 6 of your colleagues. You send it to them, they spend a good hour of their time reviewing it. The first person that reviews, there's going to be quite a few good comments. Then the next, but around the 8th one that you open, I grant you there's going to be lots of duplicate comments in there, and that's wasting their time to produce, and it's also wasting your time because you have to coordinate all those responses back, and it's a real pain. So when we go through annotation, what exactly is annotation? Well, good for Alfresco, annotation is workflow. I'm putting it in a process, and I want people to do something at a certain stage and give their input, then it goes to the next stage. I want people to know what the review comments are so you can build on it. You can be interactive, you can have ideas. So you can actually be together, which is great. If you're in a team room, a scrum session or whatever, you can be together and you can have your comments. That's perfect. Person to person. Sometimes you may be other sides of the planet. You know, you've got diverse teams nowadays. And so how can you get together and discuss things? I've actually been in the States once, in Atlanta, trying to get people together in Salt Lake City, UK, on Australia, on the day that the time clocks were changing. And then the guys in Salt Lake City said that their winter time changes a week later. My brain was exploding. Trying to get all these people together at a certain point in time that we can have a review meeting in a point in time is quite hard. Then there's many organizations. You could be working with third parties as well. How do you get those people together? Oh, and then someone's bound not to be there. So if you've got a review with 6 people that they're going to be deciding, here's a deliverable, here's our comments, you're not in there because you're probably at this conference, you could be on holiday, you could be at the beach at Barcelona. And then you come back, and what's the interactivity? What were the comments that they were saying? You've got nothing, you can't catch up. You have to ask people. Like I mentioned before about the consolidation, 10 sets of comments being sent out, reviews, 10 sets of comments back. Waste of time. And the poor person has to get these comments together and make sure they're interpreted, and then you've got to go back to other people and say, actually, you said this and they said that. Again, for records management, I mentioned before about do you keep all the paper? Now, we're working with a company in the oil field, and these guys have strict governance. They build ships, they build oil rigs. Basically, if an oil rig turns over, people die, and there's billions of dollars of revenue gone. So they keep everything. And like I mentioned, you're going to have conflicting comments. So how do you give a forum for these people to actually exchange their ideas? Now, another thing as well, it's great to be in the cloud, it's great to be interactive and so on, but people also need a final record. So again, with this oil company we're working with, they've got Alfresco, they're using Alfresco, it's great, they've got the interactivity, but then if they've got a third-party supplier, well, they've got their own document management system, and they need to keep a record of what was said and what all the annotations were. So how can you produce as an output, a point in time, this is what another company can have in their system for their record. So for use cases, I mean, marketing is the first best use case because it's so creative, because it's so visual what the content is that people are doing. So if they're talking with their suppliers, if they're talking with their third parties and so on, how do they actually say, yes, this was fine, but actually that person's head there, can he be a bit to the left, and this, can you bring that down an inch? That type of review comment is what I'm on about, where it's like quite visual. And of course, there could also be text, just like what you've got in Microsoft Word. Another use case is legal. And I didn't even think of this use case until I started talking to a couple of the other companies here. Redaction is a huge business, especially in the States, where people want to have a document, but of course there's bits on there, maybe addresses, maybe names that they're not allowed to have, but they can have the rest of the document. What you want to do there is not touch the base document. That's got to be kept sacrosanct, that's got to be kept separate. But these annotations are a layer on top of that document. Quite neat. I mentioned about engineering. And this is one of our clients, Acre Solutions. And well, I went there last February. Not only was it minus 15 degrees centigrade because they're in Norway, but I was showing them Alfresco 4 and saying, hey, this is really cool. This is cool technology. And they're like, no, we'll just show you what cool technology is. Their boat, that thing there goes down 3,000 meters in the sea. It's a Christmas tree. And it's a bit like Dynarod in the UK. And they force water through to clear out all the drains and all the drill holes 3,000 meters below the sea. That's cool. But basically, you could see the amount of annotations that they're having to do and document what their engineering process is big. Because every time they build a ship, it's always bespoke. And basically, they have two suppliers, and so where metal meets metal, they have to have a document that says that interaction. Where is that join going to be? What's the parameters of both of those parts? And what negotiation can there be between suppliers? Because one supplier may have a 3-inch bulb, and another supplier has got a 4-inch bulb. Actually, I think it should be okay, actually. I think I should be okay for that. But what their problem also was, is they may have 1,000 engineers that they're discussing with third parties. But if they had a CAD system to then say, right, can you give me a license for 1,000 people to use the CAD system? Massive amount of money. And they just couldn't do it. Video. This is a big thing. Now, 5-10 years ago, before YouTube and so on, most companies didn't produce video. It was just the specialist people with the big cameras. But now, most companies are producing some element of videos. I mean, today, or even what's been happening this week, there's been people doing videos of some of the events. Product demonstrations, videos. My daughter, she's now at Sussex University, proud dad, but all her lectures, they're videoed, and within 40 minutes, they're uploaded. So no students need to attend anymore now. But basically, when you have to go through those videos, it's an hour long or 2 hours long. But if you can actually navigate to a part of the video where it's used to neuroscience, so it's where something really interesting, I don't know, they're operating on someone and taking the brain out, I want to get to that stage rather than all the run-up of what they have to do. You can navigate direct to the video. And also I mentioned again, legal side. Video testimony. Maybe not much in Europe, but in the States, people are being videoed for the testimony. So all these very expensive lawyers and so on, they have to sit and watch the testimony. But if someone can be there before them, that's actually indexing where certain things are being said. They can go direct to it. And this is one of the use cases that people are using the tools for, but no one thought of that when it was first invented. But it satisfied a need. So, tranquility, because we have got annotations in Alfresco. And it's interesting, yesterday, John Newton, he was saying, actually, 2014, they're concentrating on B2B collaboration. Got that. Looking at your marketing assets, improving how we produce those within Alfresco. Got that. Creative design. Yep. And video bookmarking, what I was just explaining. So all that is available in products now. So yes, you can annotate Alfresco. Now, there's three main products. I mean, we've got a product, and also you'll find there's two other vendors there that I'll explain in the coffee area, the other side of the road. Now, the products generally are all very similar in that they maintain an annotation layer above the document. Like I mentioned, the document remains unchanged. This is like tracing paper above the document. It can all be incorporated within Alfresco, within the workflow. And of course, there's many file types that you want to do, which is fine. Now, the products are ours, DMA, Ixxus Digital Media Annotator, IGC Brava for Alfresco, those are guys at the far end of the room, and Deja View 1. Interesting thing for Deja is last month they were acquired by IBM, which is interesting. I think they were saying that they can still provide a solution to Alfresco, but IBM's bigger than them now. So I don't know if IBM are buying the technology to shut them out, or if it's still going to be multiple people they can service. But I think the market also, there's about 4 or 5 other providers of this technology that used to be independent and has now been owned by a big content management system. But we're all here. So in the presentation as well, here's the details of their websites. So if I can show you DMA. Now, just a few things about our product features. We're a bit different from the other guys because they've held their annotations within an XML file. We've actually held our annotations as Alfresco comments because then we can get more interaction with the Alfresco system. You can see the comments obviously marked up on the document or the image or the video. And also we've got a facility as well where we can do presentations where if you have 4 or 5 people around the world all looking at the annotation screen, they can all be adding on annotations and it's appearing in front of everyone else's. So you can have that interaction. It's navigating as well to the annotation. Like I mentioned, because they're Alfresco comments, you click on the comment, go straight to where it is in the document. Very handy if you've got a 85-page document. And you can actually have the ability to annotate multiple documents together within a single workflow. We produce the PDF output, and also you can do all of this on an iPad as well, which is quite neat. Now, these are the main types of screens. You may not be able to see it much with the lights here, but effectively where there's an annotation, you then have a pop-up screen for your comment. Actually, it's quite good, this. I can't read this at all, and I thought it was my eyesight. So it's nice to know it's the technology. So again, here, this is a bird with 2 annotations, and so you've got the comments on the right-hand side. I mentioned about navigation, the video bookmarking. So there's a timeline on the bottom when you have a video, and you can see where the annotations are. So you can go direct to them. You don't have to go through a 2-hour film, not unless you want to, or the same with a very long document. There's inline discussions. So for every comment you can have reply within the team. Because what this is trying to do is instead of saying, right, go to you review, then you pass to that person, then you pass to that person, it's trying to have the debate in between so that as you're reviewing, you can go back and see comments that you haven't seen previously as other members of the team are reviewing, and it gets interactive. There's also a small label that we've got as well, just to say there's annotations against a media asset to help you. And like I mentioned, we can have a presentation to show multiple people, here's what the comments are, and you can add your comments in the same session. And against each comment, you can, like I said, navigate direct to the comment on screen, or it's in the long list of document actions you've got as well. Now also, if you're outputting this to Adobe, this is just to show you that, here's the normal Adobe print screen, and you can either see it within Adobe Acrobat. So you've got the comments in Alfresco. So if another engineering company or another third party wants to see those comments in their own system, you can send them that file independently. And because it's using Adobe Acrobat, you can see the comments in line. And also, when you print, you can see the comments when you printed it. It shows the annotation marks on the screen, and then it's got another page that says, right, these are all the comments that you've got. And that's something we've only just introduced because, like I mentioned, they need this in the engineering space. So maybe a quick video or quick demo. Is there any questions so far? You all want to buy it? So here's a mouse. So if I start a workflow, oh great. Magic of science. If I start a workflow with this mouse. Sorry? Oh, without the Wi-Fi. I'll try it first with the Wi-Fi because it seems to be working. Oh, sound. Oh, cool. Yeah, that'd be good. Okay, so this is a normal Alfresco workflow so far. Please approve. Spell it right. And I'll use user 2. Give this to user 2. So it's normal sending workflow. So I've got user 2 up in here in Internet Explorer. So if I go to my dashboard, okay, the workflows come through. And down here, there's a button to say annotations. So there's my mouse. I don't like the tail. So please cut off the tail. Got to be careful with this because one of my clients is the World Wildlife Fund. So when I go into there and they'll say, oh, that's a nice picture of that whale, and I actually had whale last month. They don't like that. And it may be the ear is too big. Remove that as well. So then I can go back here and then say apply these comments. I don't like animals. Okay. So the annotations are in there, and that's part of the workflow. So if we go back to that file, let's get to, where am I? Oh, let's get back to, oh, that's a good demo, it hasn't come through. Hold on. Where's the... Annotations. Ah. Okay, numpty user. Between too many sessions. I think it's stuck in my workflow somewhere. Oh, there you go. Okay, this one I did earlier with the comments that you can have. So this is some of the comments that I've had previously where you can overlay them all and you can see you can navigate from one to the next. Now also, if this was on the document, all the comments are below as well. Oh, wrong one. So what I can have is all the comments as part of the workflow they're kept together, and all the comments in entirety of the document are there as well. So if we had a video, let's get to where there's a nice video. Again, watching a video is very much like the a multi-part document, a multi-page document. Oh, the internet decided to stop that. So I could have something around here that I got a comment on. Make this darker. Come on, internet. Okay, internet's playing well with me now. But basically, if you had many of these, you can then just go straight to those annotations. Let's see if I can play. Damn live demos. Okay. I think that busted my internet connection. Let's try wireless. Okay, just try again. Oh, the joy of solutions in the cloud. So when here we go. So with all of these, there could be other things that I want to draw. And again, these are annotations, so I can go direct to the annotation and see the exact place where I had it. Oh. So if I go to these different comments, you can see where it's positioned. And this is the same as if I had a 50-page PowerPoint file or whatever. So the other area of this is from the output. So let's get me have an example PDF. So if I'm annotating, say, a PowerPoint, which is probably the usual way in the marketing department of them having a PowerPoint that they want to get comments on, I can page through, given the internet. Oh, great. Expand it in a certain place. Then again, what text do I want to say? Not orange enough. And again, these are general comments, or else these could be comments that are actually part of a workflow. And I could highlight some text if I want. Can't. Don't understand this. So those review comments are all in there. And also, if I want to download those as an Adobe Acrobat PDF, they're all in there as well. Once it's received, come on. Thank you. So this is in Adobe Acrobat, and you're seeing the comments there. And again, if you wanted to print this off, because it's all in Acrobat, that's all very fine to actually print it off. So that's a couple of examples of the software being used. So what we have is, go away that bit. Get to the screen. We have got a roadmap as well. And of course, the next thing that we want to do is upgrade the UI to be consistent with the 4.2 and the new facilities that you've actually got in 4.2, because it is Brill. Another areas we're looking at is side-by-side comparisons. So this is where you can say, this is the current version, and here's a previous version, and then see the comments that you had for both, so that the person can see, right, that's what I had before, or that's what I had before, and you've actually done something about it now. So you can see the visual changes. So, hopefully through that, hopefully you've seen that there is a benefit of having annotations within a document management process or an image management process. It's just so strange that it's not being done at the moment within the Alfresco product. Like I said, we've got all the governance around here, all the things about audit and everything, and there's a little bit of the process we've just gone blah, blah, blah about, and that's it. You're out into Outlook. You're out into doing it on a paper copy. So this is a way you can keep everything constrained, everything controlled. People are working within teams. One area I found as well is where you may have integration of Alfresco with, say, Jira. I went to a client 2 weeks ago, and they've got a major hardware problem, and they had 30 documents in Jira, which of course they now want to be in Alfresco. But then their problem is they've got engineers from all around the UK and the US and some of the Far East, and they're seeing semiconductor pictures, and they're trying to explain what's wrong with these pictures, where the problem is. So I can go to him and say, right, if these documents are actually in Alfresco, which you want, what if you had the ability that you could have your team discuss a picture in Alfresco, and then have the team try and think of ideas on that picture? Yes, can I have it? So within a business context, especially engineering, they do get this type of technology. They do use it. And again, I know John said that it's going to be around here in 2014-15, but it's here now. And it's here now with another couple of the suppliers here as well. So please talk to us all. You've got tomorrow. It's bound to be not sunny tomorrow, so it's bound to be rainy or something. So loads of people will be in the hall to speak to the suppliers. So thank you for listening. Any questions?
Well, raise your hand if you have a question.
For me, the number one benefit is the comments are actually Alfresco comments. So previous to this, we've had the comments on the document, and people have not really said much. They've said, yes, like it, no, I haven't. But in using this, people are putting their thoughts down in the actual comments. So I found, just going around to some of the clients, they haven't really been making use of the review comment facility, and this gets them to really, really use it. That's, for me, the major one. And also, where we've got the navigation within Alfresco, we're keeping them in Alfresco. It's not going to a separate tool. They're in Alfresco. And the more I was looking at this, the more I was annoyed I was getting of why am I going outside of my tool? It's just like, you know, you want collaboration and you want to go, let's go Google Docs. Let's come out of Alfresco and go to Google Docs because there's not something that Alfresco can do. For me, everyone's been using paper and writing on things because that's been a nice way to do things, you know, the old way. And now this technology is enabling you to keep inside.
Working? Hi. You have a nice tool, but you said that it might prevent people to download and print and share and annotate. But how do you prevent this? How your clients now are preventing this? Because downloading is still possible for annotation on paper or
But you don't want them to download. Is that what you're saying?
It might be a solution, but do you suggest to do that to your clients? Or what is your strategy in this?
Well, that's where, when we're looking at the 4.2 UI, there's a new functionality in 4.2 where effectively you can give us access to one document to a client. I've forgotten what that functionality is called.
Sorry, I don't know.
Well, there is functionality in the new version of Alfresco. So that would be something that we're looking at for where we're trying to say this is my controlled area. Could be, for example, here's a CV that it's in HR and I don't want anyone to come inside my HR area, but I want to give a controlled document to that person over there to see that particular CV at this particular point in time. So that's whatever that feature is in Alfresco 4.2, that's what we'll be looking at so that we can actually embed the review comments in there. But there is something about the process because yes, we're on about technology, but we're also on about people, we're also on about process. So even this thing of when I was on about Jira, where this client was saying that people had attached 30 documents to Jira. Hey, you could still attach 30 documents in Jira. But if you try to then say, we're not having documents anymore, we're using the document Jira, the Alfresco Jira connection, which another supplier has provided, and effectively everyone is just giving references now. No one's putting a document in there. If we see a document in there, having the user adoption of telling people nicely, you shouldn't really do it this way, putting it on their performance. The training, yeah, and it's just like user adoption, where you have new ways of doing things, new things. People go to the old habits, but you need to politely say, by the way, can you do it differently the next time? And then if they still continue doing it, yes, yeah, cattle prod. But that's always the problem. Email is going to be the leakage, but then it's disappeared. And this is where, you know, like I mentioned, we talk about records management. And I've been in a big project, 150-man project, where we had to keep all the review comment lists of what we had from clients. It was great if they had one piece of paper that was a formal review comment list, and that's just their list. But as soon as they were saying, I can't be bothered to do that, I want to write on the document, we had to keep the document. And that's just horrible storage. So now you could probably scan that in, but it's still someone scanning in another document, rather than actually, why don't you keep it digitally in Alfresco in the first place? But you know, these are all issues of, have we actually got to the paperless office yet? Are we nearly there? There's that 5% that's always going to be a leakage. Yeah. Yeah. That's it.
Thank you. Any other questions? Oh, one over here.
I've seen that your solution is available on iPad. Is it integrated in the default Alfresco application, or is it a dedicated application?
Yeah, it's in it can be loaded into a vanilla application. As a platinum partner, it can only be used for subscription-based Alfresco systems. So if there's people in community, it's like, sorry, so it has to be subscription. I think it's really on-premise as well because there's a server component that's in there, and I don't think we can yet get the server component in the cloud because that's just configuration rather than customization of what you can do in the cloud, as I understand it. Or we always like to package it with Ixxus services. But no, we've given it to another client who, here's a training guide, here's the installation guide, and they've done it with their Alfresco developers. I mean, this is where we had this as part of the Ixxus publishing platform. We've got about 40 components that we've got. And this was just a nice, neat one that we could say it's self-contained, other people can use it. Actually, we're not competing with all these other companies, and it's really useful. So when we're using it internally, it's like, this is quite nice. So we thought, right, let's package this up and give it proper support. So then it's sort of available through that way. But then we do have to do the upgrade as well to 4.2.
Got one more question at the back here. I'm going to ask if we make this the last question. It's just a couple of minutes until the wrap-up time. So.
Okay.
Paul, what's the plans for supporting other devices other than iPad?
I defer to Charlie there, who's at the back, who's our technical architect for this area. Yeah.
I didn't realize I'd be doing this. The technology is built on HTML5, so it's available in a number of different formats for a number of web browsers. I'm going to cop out slightly and say we haven't actually put it through any intensive testing on other devices. We're definitely sure on iPad, but if you're interested, have a talk to us and we can see how it behaves.
Yeah. Thank you, Charlie.
Great. Well, thank you very much, Paul, and I really enjoyed your presentation. I'm sure that Paul's available for any questions or follow-up if you grab him at the end. So thanks a lot.
Thank you very much.